I'm home! Okay, let's see here. Don't need this anymore. I don't need this anymore. For behold, the 386, a spectacle of graphics and sound.
Hello again, Carmen Ryder here, back with another commentary. Now I already hear you saying, Carmen Ryder, where's your stills and background? You criticize Nani for using gameplay as a background, you fucking hypocrite. Well, unlike Nani, I actually have a good reason to use gameplay as a background. Now this is going to be a bit of a tangent, so if you don't give a fuck, then go this time. Now as you know, my laptop is busted. Specifically, the C drive became corrupted to the point where I can't even log in anymore. The only way to fix this is to get a new C drive, so in short, I'm screwed and my files are gone. But there is hope. I still have the line art to the stills, so I just need to draw over them once more. As of right now, however, I have not done that. Hell, as I'm typing this, I haven't even reinstalled the GIMP. But hey, now you get to watch me suck at Soul Calibur. Today we're going over MatPat. Again. Now, unlike the videos I've done on my other repeat offenders, I actually wanted to do a video on MatPat this time. But I could never think of what video of his to cover. Not because he has good points, but because... what do I even say? He applies real-world logic to cartoony franchises. I'm not gonna repeat myself over and over for MatPat. I already did that with CinemaSins. Applying real-world logic to cartoony franchises is only cool in the context of power scaling, not clickbaity, kid-pandering YouTubers. But I scrolled down and I found it. The video that has enough to talk about for a 10-minute runtime. The video is titled, Game Theory. Who is Mega Man's true villain? Let's get into it.
Mega Man spent 10 games chasing one guy. It's a shame too, since he's not the one to blame.
The smartest show in gaming, eh? Not for long.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory, voted Show of the Year in the year 20XX.
Actually, that title goes to Kaizoku Sentai Gokaiger.
Now, let me come right out and say it. I love me some Blue Bomber. I don't often replay games, but when I do, I prefer Mega Man.
You're not funny.
And after playing the recent, exceptional fan-made Mega Man Unlimited, it got me thinking about the series again, which, as you know, can be a dangerous thing around these parts.
Yeah, it's humiliating as fuck.
Sure enough, what I came to realize was actually quite shocking. Dr. Wily, you know, evil genius out to conquer the world using his robot army, he's not the one to blame in these games. I hear what you're thinking. How could Dr. Wily not be the one responsible, right?
I mean, when you hijack another person's machinery to use it to cause bodily harm to others, then how could you not be a bad guy?
I mean, first red flag, he's German. If mainstream media has taught us anything, it's that Germans not carrying around hot pretzels, beer steins, and or Wiener Schnitzel are clearly Nazi sympathizers.
Wow, you're a fucking asshole. Just assuming all the people who disagree with you are racist. Not a good start to your video.
All cultural stereotyping aside, though, Dr. Wily is the one to turn a legion of specialized work robots against humanity, so that would seem to make him pretty bad. But is all of this his fault?
Yes.
I used to think so until I saw this moment from the end of Mega Man 7.
Oh, you mean the one that sucks?
At the end of the game, surprise, surprise, Rock has Wily begging for mercy, but this time it's a little different. Mega's not having any of Wily's pleas. I gonna do what I should have done years ago, he says, apparently so enraged he forgot to use his helping verbs. But Dr. Wily reminds him, robots can't hurt humans. That's the way they're programmed. And that's when Mega Man reveals, in probably the slowest text scroll ever featured in a video game, that he is more than a robot. We all know that the next word is robot. A robot. That he is more than a robot.
I mean, if you were in a building with a bleeding terrorist, then you would kill him too.
Anyway, he goes in for the kill, but in a twist marginally less shocking than Aerith's death, Wily escapes. Cue Mega Man 8. Now, what's so strange about this moment is that Mega Man, who is canonically 100% a robot,
Super fighting robot, Mega Man.
is able to independently decide to hurt, even kill a human. This brings up the question of machine ethics, or what it means to program robots so that they behave in a way that we as humans deem moral. As robots become smarter, as they come closer and closer to being able to make their own decisions, these issues become increasingly more important. Probably the best known example of a robot moral code is Asimov's 3 Laws of Robotics.
Pause. Yeah, no. The laws of robotics are a myth. Let me read you an excerpt from Singularity Hub. The link will be in the description. Yet the 3 laws, as written, have already been discarded. The first law? Honestly, sometimes we really want robots to hurt humanity. Many of our most advanced and reliable machine/software are in the military, shooting down mortar fire, spying on targets, and guiding missiles. The second law? We don't want robots to obey anyone. We want them to obey just the people who own them. Would you buy an automated security camera that would turn itself off whenever someone asked it to? The third law? Maybe we still want that one, but only because robots are really damn expensive. In fact, the laws of robotics came from a collection of science fiction short stories. Emphasis on fiction. Granted, it has paralleled into real life to some degree, but regardless, it's still fiction.
Which state the following. 1. A robot may not injure a human being or, through inaction, allow a human being to come to harm. 2. A robot must obey the orders given to it by human beings, except where such orders would conflict with the first law. 3. A robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second law. Remember, robots behave in the way we program them, following a strict code based on the rules we put in. Asimov was a science fiction writer who created these laws as he explored the possible loopholes machines could find in their programming.
Yes, but again, emphasis on fiction.
Setting up airtight rules like these, where there is no possibility of a machine misinterpreting what we meant, is essential to avoid the prospect of a robot uprising a la Terminator 2.
Pretty sure the Singularity isn't going to be like Terminator. If anything, it would just be a series of negotiations.
But based on the Mega Man 7 ending, it's clear that Rock wasn't programmed in a way that forces him to adhere to this sort of code. Instead, he has the ability to decide who lives or dies based on some arbitrary criteria.
So you're telling me that you wouldn't kill a known terrorist? Okay.
At first, I thought this meant he was broken, but in actuality, this was intentional, with these criteria programmed into him by one man, Dr. Light. And Dr. Light didn't just give Mega Man this ability. Every murderous robot rampaging through the city was the result of the good doctor.
You're not gonna say what I think you're gonna say.
Yes. Everything filters back to Dr. Light. Every robot master, every wily scheme, every life lost. It seems like an extreme claim when there is very clearly a villain in the character of Dr. Wily, but to truly understand, you have to have a clear sense of the series' story. And since there's been a lot of confusion over the years about Mega Man's canon, let me briefly summarize the events of the series. Wily and Light attended the same school, the Robot Institute of Technology, or RIT. Oh, I get it. I see what you guys did. It's like MIT, but instead of the M, there's an R. I get it. Yep, got it. Dr. Light wanted to create human-like robots.
Wait, hold on. Are you actually getting your facts from the cartoon and comics? You do realize those are separate continuities, right?
One's with a sense of individuality, with purpose, a new level of artificial intelligence mimicking the human mind and free will. Thus, he created Proto-Man, the world's first independent robot. But being independent, Proto-Man escaped. So instead of doing anything about it, Dr. Light was like, well, better build two this time.
Actually, no. There's more to the story. It was discovered that Proto-Man had a problem with his energy core, and Dr. Light wanted to repair it, but in fear that it would change his character, Proto-Man escaped. As a result, Dr. Light had assumed Proto-Man had died, so he perfected the energy core when he made Rock and Roll, so that wouldn't happen again.
And thus, Rock and Roll were created. Rock and Roll. Well done, Capcom. Very clever. Tip of the cap. Tip-o the cap. When those two didn't freak out like Proto-Man, Dr. Light went on to build more, this time thematic robots, and hence the Robot Masters. Wily, meanwhile, saw all this as his opportunity. Though he wasn't a skilled programmer and couldn't create the artificial intelligence like Dr. Light could, he was able to manipulate the robots and recode them to do his bidding.
And that's Dr. Light's fault how?
In fact, in Mega Man 9, we see that one way Wily is able to convince robots to join his ranks is by vowing to help them survive past their expiration date.
Not necessarily. He says that after they're considered useless, they'll be destroyed, which is most likely a lie. Again, robots are expensive. Also, the fact that Dr. Wily hijacked the TV stations lying about it not being his fault when it clearly was. Hell, he even got Dr. Light falsely arrested.
With the robot uprising underway, Dr. Light, knowing that the world's police forces and armies wouldn't be able to combat these new enemies, converts Rock into the fighting robot, Mega Man.
Super fighting robot, Mega Man.
From that story, Dr. Light's responsibility for the events in the Mega Man series should become crystal man clear. He built robots that had cannons, bomb launchers, and giant scissors bolted to their bodies.
No, you're not gonna say it. Don't you fucking dare.
Then took it upon himself to give these machines autonomy. He willfully ignored conventions like Asimov's laws and instead decided that these robots should have the equivalence of free will, despite neither he nor the world being equipped for what that free will entailed.
Yep, you said it. You're probably the same kind of person who wants to ban guns too, right? It's not the tool that matters, it's how you use it. The Robot Masters were built to do certain tasks, not for terrorism. Dr. Wily is the one who reprogrammed the robots for that purpose. To put it in a simple analogy, Dr. Light gave you a rock. You didn't have to throw it out a window. Pun intended.
He allowed Proto-Man, a deadly robot with no failsafes, no programming to say don't kill humans, to escape, and then did nothing about that.
Because he thought Proto-Man died. Plus, he tried to do something.
Other than build a few more. And all of this carelessness, this unwillingness to think about the consequences of his actions, allowed Dr. Wily to swoop in and use these robots for his own purposes. Looking back at the Mega Man 9 example, those old robots faced with a rapidly approaching expiration date and the threat of becoming scrap in a junkyard, chose to follow Dr. Wily, chose the possibility of a longer quote-unquote life. And
Yes, because the child in my basement chose to be in there because he came in my van willingly. Do you not know what manipulation is?
why shouldn't they want to live longer if they can? This artificial intelligence Dr. Light gave them makes them practically human. Did they follow the wrong person? Maybe, but at the end of the day, it was their right to choose, as given to them by Dr. Light. Dr. Light, for as brilliant as he is, ultimately fails in the realm of roboethics, or the ethical considerations roboticists must keep in mind as they create newer, stronger, more autonomous robots.
Tell that to the US military. Or any military, for that matter.
He was willing to progress the field forward, but was unwilling to take responsibility for everything that meant.
Wait, so if the robots have free will, shouldn't that mean we should blame the robots for making the wrong choice? I mean, I doubt they just woke up and said, well, time to go murder humans. After all, if they're supposed to be like humans, shouldn't we treat them like humans and have them take responsibility and receive consequences for their actions? Given how we have Mega Man, they've pretty much received said consequences.
And see, that's the important part. The technology is easy. In fact, it's already coming into existence. With all the political warring in the area, between North and South Korea is a demilitarized stretch of land 2.5 miles wide. Step foot into that territory, and you will immediately be shot, no questions asked, by the thousands of patrolling soldiers. It's one of the deadliest areas in the world for humans, but it just got a little bit deadlier. This is the Super Aegis II, an autonomous gun tower that can sense and lock onto human targets in complete darkness at a distance of nearly 1.5 miles. Once locked on, it has a machine gun, an optional grenade launcher upgrade, and can be loaded out with practically whatever weapon an owner feels like strapping onto it. A laser and gyroscope help calibrate the aim, delivering precision punishment to whoever stumbles into this part of the jungle. This thing is deadly. Overkill. And let me reiterate the first adjective I used to describe it. Autonomous. It can find a human and take out a human without needing to consult a human. No mercy and no regard for what side that person might be fighting for. Give this thing the ability to walk, drop it into a city, and you have yourself a ruthless killing machine with no morality outside of human-shaped figures die. And that is essentially what Dr. Light allowed to happen.
Not in the slightest. There's a difference between a mounted gun and a robot master. Robot masters have human personalities, human qualities, human emotions, etc., etc. A mounted gun does not have that. Again, we need to hold the robots and Dr. Wily accountable for it. The robots because they made the choice to follow Wily and hurt others, and Wily for reprogramming and manipulating the robot masters.
Now you might be saying, Dr. Light was doing this with the best of intentions, and you know what? I would agree, 100%. But it doesn't change the fact that when you come right down to it, he's responsible. Without his technology, without his blatant disregard for established robot ethics, Dr. Wily would have never been able to convince a group of freely thinking robots to join him, to allow him to reprogram them.
Well, he didn't exactly anticipate his former colleague to turn his robots into weapons either. I mean, who would?
Light is a man who decided to take robo-ethics into his own hands, created, then gave free will to deadly war machines, carelessly let autonomous robots escape, and did absolutely nothing after the fact to stop it other than, oh yeah, do the whole thing again. In summary, the Mega Man series serves as a warning to us. Don't take robo-ethics lightly, otherwise we might be the ones sweeping the floors for our Roomba overlords. But hey, it's just a theory. A game theory.
And you're not immune to criticism. Well, that's all for today. If you want more from me, you can watch my DeviantArt, follow my Instagram. If you want to support the channel, you can donate to my Patreon. If you want to talk to me directly, you can join my Discord server. And until next time, goodbye.
'Cause I'm a phone on a phone.